Like any time that somebody is providing advantages to an identity group that I don't belong to, I will never support that.
Wait, what? You can say that about every. So what? Like veterans? What is this? What is this cancer research funding that you speak of? I don't have cancer. What the?
Now that you're officially in your position, you've been here about a week on the job. We spoke to you last before you had actually come in formally to the role. Do you have a better target number for how many people you want to deport overall?
As many as we can. My goal is, I think success is removing every criminal gang member out of this country, every public safety threat, illegal alien out of this country, every trafficker, illegal alien out of this country. Then that aperture opens, right? We got 1.4 million illegal aliens in this country who had due process at great taxpayer expense. They were ordered removed by a federal judge and didn't leave. They became a fugitive. They're next. So we're going to keep opening that aperture and enforcing immigration law. And I'll implore those in the country illegally, those who don't have a final order, those who have not been ordered by an immigration judge. If you're in the country illegally, you should leave. Because if we have to formally deport you, you can face anywhere from a 5 to 20-year bar from ever coming back, either as a student, a visitor visa, a tourist visa, or be petitioned by a U.S. citizen child. If you're in the country illegally, you haven't been ordered deported, leave and come back the right way, because there will be other opportunities.
You're talking about going after public safety threats, national security threats first, but you just said the aperture is going to widen, meaning the scope of the people you're going to go after. How long do you anticipate before you're in that next phase where the aperture has gotten wider?
People like him are an insult of humanity. I mean, people like him are not human. Like, look at him, dude. He quite literally is barely, he's not even doing a good enough job presenting himself as a human being, to be honest. He's almost an actual orc. Exactly.
Very soon. I mean, sanctuary cities are making it very difficult to arrest the criminals. For instance, Chicago, very well educated. They've been educated how to defy ICE, how to hide from ICE.
He's mad that they can't cheat in their Gestapo operations, that there's still like some semblance of rules and restrictions that they must abide by in their dragnet operations, and that's very frustrating for him. Like, oh, they're very well educated. They know the rules that I can't violate the Fourth Amendment. I don't like that. I love you.
And I've seen many pamphlets from many of the NGOs. Here's how you escape ICE from arresting you. Here's what you need to do. They call it know your rights. I call it how to escape arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest, and they tell you how to hide from ICE. No, don't open your door. Don't answer questions. Okay, you can call it know your rights all you want, but there's an order for their removal. They've been ordered removed by a federal judge after due process at great taxpayer expense. They need to go. But if we got to play that cat and mouse game, that's what we're going to do till every one of them gone.
In terms of how you're messaging this, obviously you've been speaking publicly. We know that officials were told to be ready to be in front of the cameras, agents were, that they could be around when these arrests were happening. We saw Dr. Phil was along and embedded with one of your teams. How much thought are you putting into making this kind of a made-for-TV moment in order to publicly message or whatever your strategic goal is here?
Well, look, we got Kristi Noem, she got her vote this weekend. You're going to see a lot more from Secretary of DHS. She'll be out here talking much more. We've the new CBP commissioner who's being nominated, Rodney Scott. He will empower the chief patrol agents to talk. So we want all the frontline managers to talk throughout the country. But the message I'm sending is that
good guy behavior, real good guy behavior, when a law enforcement member of the federal law enforcement agency is upset that people know their rights. That's when you know someone is definitely a good guy, okay? When they're like, I hate that these people have a decent understanding of the rules and the law, and therefore it makes it much harder for us to do these mass apprehensions I hate it. I don't like it one bit. We need to stop educating these migrants so they can be just as stupid as I am. Tom Holman. Next excuse yesterday just said all of them are criminals to 30,000 people. Yeah, and speaking of which, Asmongold is now officially the largest political content creator on the platform. And this is apparently the idea that he pitched.
One other thing. So like they're doing this thing with like these deportations where they bring in like celebrities to deport people, and it made me wonder, what is the probability that Tom Homan would let me go with him dressed up as Ash Ketchum with watching them do deportations? Like, I feel like it's probably at least 5% chance, right? Like, I think I think we're at a 5 to 10% chance.
Like, what is this? What is happening right now? Have we just lost the plot in its entirety? Like, what's going on? Like, my man's adding a second thing to his. Asmongold's now officially adding a second thing to his going outside routine, and it's like Whataburger, and now watching migrants get deported as he dressed up as like Ash Ketchum. To me, when I think about the mass deportation policies, like I don't know, I don't see it as like a laughing matter or something to be entertained by, because my assumption is not immediately that every single one of these people that's being deported is like a, you know what I mean? That's how the American government tries to propagandize the position, but that's not how it is. It's just, I don't know.
That this could happen.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be really good content. It would be. And yeah, probably not going to happen though, but it would be funny. For the love of God, you must try. Yeah, hilarious.
Dude, I saw something that was I saw a TikTok that I want to show you guys about
Mr. Speaker, I want the
where Joe Rogan was. Okay, I need you to see this. Wait, where did it go? Did I not like it? I thought I did. This is back when I was a Joe Rogan head as well.
Wanted to build a wall, but I didn't know that he said that he wanted to get rid of the
Here's Joe Rogan and Sam Harris, two people who I disagree with vehemently now, talking about Donald Trump.
illegal aliens.
Round
that are
them
here.
up. Gonna round them up.
And do what with them? That's
Send them back to their country.
Oh, that is so crazy. That's such a crazy idea, and it's so brutal. The idea that, I mean, it's a subhuman thing. The only reason why people would come to America is because they felt like it would make their life better. So people take a big risk. There's not an easy way to do it if you're poor and you don't have any qualifications for any unusual job. I mean, and you're trying to get across to Mexico. But everybody who does it because they want to improve their life. You know, and the idea that one group of people shouldn't be able to do it and one group should, just because we were born on the right side of some strange line that is only a couple hundred years old.
But the climate change thing is also insane and dangerous.
Well, he was a birther.
Right, yeah, right.
He was one of the original
Yeah, right.
birthers. He was saying that Obama's birth certificate was bullshit. He was born in Kenya, right? Wasn't he one of those guys?
Oh, yeah, he was
I would love it if
self-funding that for a while, yeah.
I would love it if he got into office and just said, "Listen, folks, I am not."
Like, the rest of it is just like him being silly, but like this is Joe Rogan in 2016, and his approach to immigration right here, like specifically talking about undocumented migrants right here,
do it if you're.
is my understanding of the reality. Okay, because it is the reality. No one is coming into America with like impure intentions. Okay, especially not 20 million people. The assumption that 20 million undocumented migrants, if there are 20 million of them on U.S. soil, operate with a hive mind, right? Operate with a hive mind to begin with is insane. Like dudes from Honduras, Guatemala, Cuba, Venezuela, the Congo, China, all around the world, right? People come into the United States of America from all around the world. The notion that like an evil act of a singular undocumented migrant is actually reflective of the 20 million population is psychotic, especially when they are from virtually every different demographic, ethnicity, creed, background, race, educational attainment. Like they are not, this is not one blob, right? That's number one. Number two, the notion that they come here specifically to do crimes or to ruin American society is also ridiculous. Like, these are just normal people, man. They're normal people just like you and me, right? And they want the same exact things. They want a roof over their heads. They want a better future for themselves and their kids. They want to have a regular job, you know? So the idea that they're coming here to do crimes and like undermine American culture is completely ridiculous. It's so silly. I don't understand it. So coming through the legal process, great question. Some of the people that are being deported are actually coming in through the legal process, just so you know, because the difference between an undocumented migrant and a documented migrant is just paperwork, okay? And as far as the undocumented migrants that have come in, okay, the reason why they have come in through criminal means, which is not a severe violation at all, right? You're passing, as Joe Rogan correctly points out, an imaginary boundary that we set up like 100 years ago. It didn't even exist. It's just paperwork. You are so pathetically virtuous. It's insane. First of all, I don't understand why virtue is considered a vice in this regard. Okay? You are just saying that you agree that I have the morally correct position. That is not like a pejorative. You can't say, man, I hate how pathetically virtuous you are. What has happened to American society? What has happened to people? What do you mean pathetically virtuous? It's like that tweet, never commit the sin of empathy. Like, what is happening? What do you mean, the sin of empathy? National security doesn't matter? Brother, I have already described illegal immigrant rights over American people's rights. Nice one, Hasan. Your rights begin and end on the boundaries of other people, okay? On other people's rights. There's no such thing as like illegal immigrants getting more rights than Americans. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not a real thing. And also, that should not be a real thing, okay? And in terms of just paperwork, it is the truth. Because the difference between an undocumented migrant, when people say, just come in the legal way, that's what they're saying. File the paperwork. And I'm telling people that they do file the paperwork and they are still considered undocumented migrants because it's just about paperwork. That's the reason why J.D. Vance can go on the national stage and say, Haitians with temporary protected status, proper paperwork, are undocumented migrants that are going to be deported from this country. They're not undocumented. They have the documentation. They quite literally have the proper paperwork, which means they went through the process. They got criminal background checks. The Department of Homeland Security, which is not a woke institution, has decided that these people are allowed into the country. Okay? That's number one. Number two, in terms of like national security conversations, national security fears in general, okay, this again goes back to a falsehood that I was addressing in the beginning. These people are not coming in here to do crimes. And as a matter of fact, the data also reflects that reality, right? Undocumented migrants are responsible for a smaller share of crimes per capita than natural born U.S. citizens are. They do less crime in general. Define paperwork, be more specific. I don't know how much more specific I can be. Paperwork as in going through the proper channels and opening up the proper channels in the hands of the federal government, of course, opening up the proper channels for these undocumented migrants to be processed. America has created amnesty for undocumented migrants numerous times throughout its history. Ronald Reagan very famously did this as well. Defined paperwork in this situation would be whichever the proper paperwork is for processing undocumented migrants and making them documented migrants. All right, let's get back to what Asmongold is saying.
Yes. And yeah, your statement about not voting to disadvantage yourself is really blowing up on X with strong support. Well, of course it is. Of course, it's just a logical perspective to have. Now, there's a bunch of emotionally unstable retards on the internet that like to distort reality. But no, of course, I'm not going to vote for somebody who's going to say that someone else is going to have a privilege that I can't have. Why the would I ever do that? That's the most retarded thing you can imagine. So, no, of course, that's like, I mean, why don't I just vote to have somebody shoot me? Like, what is this?
So he said this. I think this is the video. This is the OG video that went viral on Twitter, it seems, when he was like replying to when he was responding to my conversation with CNN.
It's the double standard. And I'm sorry, but I'm never going to vote for a person who's going to categorically put me at a disadvantage. Like any time that somebody is providing advantages to an identity group.
I don't understand the argument that they're critical to agribusiness. Like, it just sounds like, ooh, they let us keep our underpaid wage slaves. Don't deport them. We don't want to pay more. That's what it sounds like, honestly. No, it is the reality, however. Okay. My argument is not to deny the abject reality that corporations in numerous sectors actually utilize undocumented labor. Okay. Specifically to undermine the documented U.S. labor force, and that the only way to fix this problem is by deporting 20 million people. My solution to it is recognizing that reality and then combating it by documenting them. Okay? That's it. That is the proper way to go about this. That is also the popular measure as well. There are studies conducted on this as well. Every single time when given the two options of amnesty for undocumented migrants versus mass deportation, amnesty always wins out. Okay? What if we filled the gap post-deportation with American workers? Brother, what are you talking about? Deporting 20 million workers in general is not obviously a good thing. Like, it's not like, oh man, this will be an opportunity. You are out of your mind. Also, that's not going to happen anyway. Obviously, also attacking the companies for their activities, but it seems like Americans can also fulfill the jobs. Yeah, I hate the popular argument. It's the right thing to do. No, I agree. But in this instance, it's not only the right thing to do, but it's also the popular thing to do anyway. You cannot tell me in all sincerity that you believe the mass deportation of 20 million workers in this country is actually a pro-labor position, okay? The proper way to go about this is to understand the reality that undocumented migrants are being exploited in ways that are even worse than how the documented labor force is being exploited, and then work to improve their conditions and offer them amnesty and offer them documentation so they can participate in the labor force alongside the documented labor force and improve their wages as well as everyone else's wages. That is the argument. Anything that justifies the unimaginably cruel practice of mass deportations and concentration camps is going to lead you to straight up Nazi stuff. Okay? No, it's not pro-labor, but can we do both? Curtail the exploitation, improve working conditions, offer documentation for those who don't have substantial criminal background. Couldn't we do all of the above? Wait, no, that is my argument. That's what I want the American government to do. Who is putting people in a camp? I don't know. Have you been checking the news? Chatter? His name is Thomas Homan. He looks like a literal Harkonnen. What do you mean, so? Viking God Gamer? What about all of the other president deportations? You think I liked it if Joe Biden did it or if Barack Obama did it? Are you stupid? No, I was incredibly critical of them too. I've been yelling about Joe Biden. Oh my God, they all did it. Look it up. Oh my God, this dude just... Sometimes I forget dealing with right-wingers is just like a foolhardy endeavor in general, because it's like they just don't have any conceptualization capabilities beyond partisan politics. Dude, just, I don't know, go to my YouTube page and maybe watch one video from the Biden administration and immigration in general, and you will understand that I don't give a who's doing the deportations. It's still cruel and unjustifiable.
Double standard. And I'm sorry, but I'm never going to vote for a person who's going to categorically put me at a disadvantage. Like any time that somebody is providing advantages to an identity group that I don't belong to, I will never support that.
Wait, what? You can say that about every... So what, like veterans? Children with leukemia. Excuse me. What is this cancer research funding that you speak of? I don't have cancer, so I don't give a shit. What the?
Never. Why would I actively support somebody who's trying to disenfranchise me and hurt me? It's insane. So he's totally right that it's the policies. And it's also the messaging. The messaging is it's patronizing.
He's agreeing with me, but I don't know. Is this out of context? Like, I don't understand, because I wasn't making an argument against, like, I was not making an argument against the disenfranchised.
It's rude. It's aggressive. It's awful. It's common sense. It's voting against your best interest. Yeah, people are obsessed with identity politics. Yeah, exactly. But how are you being hurt? Well, for example, like if somebody provides a benefit or a promotion that's available to a group of people that I'm not a part of, that would be an opportunity that I wouldn't have access to because of my identity. Do you understand? So like the moment that that happens, I'm out. I'm totally out. I will never support somebody that will put me at a disadvantage because of immutable characteristics.
I hate it when pregnant women get to sit on the bus. I'm not a child, so I won't support the existence of schools anymore. Virtually every aspect of like modern governance revolves around combating this attitude, just so we make it clear. Okay? This is the inception of like American libertarian principles, and it is antithetical to the existence of any kind of government. The entire point of overall welfare is to, one, create structures of support that might even help you down the line in ways that you don't foresee, okay, i.e., cancer research, let's say. Like, why are we spending this money on cancer research? I don't have cancer. Just eat right, lol. Okay, well, you'll appreciate it if you do end up getting cancer, or if a loved one ends up getting cancer, that this research exists. That's number one. Number two, you never know if that cancer research actually ends up saving the lives of many people that will become incredibly important and productive individuals in American society. Like, that's the whole point. I'm using cancer research for one reason. I'm using cancer research as like a singular reason, but there are numerous different initiatives implemented in the same vein, okay? Even affirmative action in general. Any kind of initiative that would help improve the material conditions of, I don't know, the black population of the United States of America that have been relegated to historically underserved neighborhoods is overall to the benefit of everyone in the United States of America. Even if you can't see it through purely empathetic terms, even if you can't see it through the lens of empathy, right? I can still make a very self-interested argument towards this as well, which is that you never know where this uncaptured attention is, okay? This unlimited potential is, and it's the government's job, it's the responsibility of a normal government to make sure that they improve the underlying material conditions to a degree where, you're helping improve the potential of so many people who never get that opportunity.
Maybe you do not need that. But I think I should be treated fairly, the same as everybody else is. And if somebody says that I shouldn't be treated fairly and I should be put at a disadvantage, then I'm going to vote against them. And you can say that it's not fair or whatever.
I won't vote against my own self-interest, perhaps the single most straightforward political perspective ever, this person says. It's ironic that people say this, but it's like at the heart of many people's voting decisions. I hear this a lot. Oh, I won't vote against my self-interest. And then people turn around and vote for the Republican Party regularly. If you are working class, okay, neither party really represents your interests. Fair. But in most circumstances, at least one party is not actively seeking to undermine like all of these federal government programs or whatever that do help you in very meaningful ways. So, no, a lot of people actively vote against their best interest. Asmongold is afraid of a hypothetical that he will never experience because he has money and doesn't leave the house. No, but this is simply a limit to his own imagination. Like this is a demonstration of the limits of your own imagination, okay? Because the federal government works in invisible ways. I'll give you an example. the FDA, right, or the USDA. These are institutions that the Republican Party seeks to undermine and deregulate. Why? Because corporations can't generate as high profits as they would like to when the pesky federal agencies tell them, you know, you have to make sure that your supply of poultry or meat in general is up to a certain standard and therefore doesn't poison people, okay, when they consume it. Yeah. The National Institute of Health is another one, right? This just happens behind the scenes, but it plays a very formative role. Like food standards play a very formative role in society not collapsing, okay? It gives you the opportunity to not have to test your own food and you know, take away that massive hurdle that once did not exist. Okay? But because it's invisible, people just look at that and go, I don't care. Okay? I don't care. It's fine. So when the Republican Party undermines this federal agency and deregulates it, especially at a time when seemingly bird flu is on the rise, that's not a good thing. That's a danger to overall welfare. It's chaos. Without the existence of a properly funded regulatory agency, things like that are going to cause a tremendous amount of harm to the broader population. Leaving that up to luck is insane to me. Asmongold believes that white people are being discriminated is not a hypothetical for him. I know. I think it's ridiculous. Okay. Trying to offer affirmative action style initiatives to historically underfunded and undermined groups in this country is not simply done to be woke, is not simply done because you know, the people they just want to be virtue signalers or whatever. It's done to improve the material conditions of those people in particular, but also across the board, all people, as a direct consequence of having being able to uplift certain communities, improve their material conditions, and maybe capture the unlimited potential that they might have. None of that is at odds with white people thriving in society. Not only is it not a zero-sum game, but it also ends up improving white people and their living standards as well. You responded to Reddit. I think that if I was as extreme as everybody says that I am, you wouldn't be seeing multi-million viewed videos. Views equals right. No, you would be seeing multi-million. That is the reason why you're seeing multi-million viewed videos. Oh my God. Dude, Donald Trump is the president. What are we talking about? Of course, someone who just says like, no, everything he's saying is awesome and great and saving this country is going to garner a lot of attention from his fan base. He won the election. He won the popular vote. Like, what are we talking about? Can't be far right if popular is a common argument. You're mad because you have less views. I've always had less views than Asmongold. What are you talking about? Asmongold has consistently been one of the largest content creators on this platform. There's never been a moment where I've had more views than Asmongold. This is a stupid argument. No, maybe it has everything to do with what he's advocating for to a large audience now and not necessarily, oh, it wasn't serious. Okay. I don't care. There are plenty of content creators who are much larger than me. Kai Cenat is infinitely larger than me. Love Kai Cenat. Great. You know, awesome. Good. If Kai Cenat with his infinitely larger platform was regularly watching Trump speeches and talking about how great Donald Trump is, then I would have a problem, because my problem is not with someone else's success. It's actually what their output is. Okay. Mike from Pia put it best about Asmon. It's like him starting a race with 200-year advantage. I'll add this, then saying you get no advantage to catch up. Meanwhile, he still says he has his material needs, but leaving the marginalized in the dust, but saying me the whole way. The thing I don't understand is like these guys were always talking about how everything is political and everything is woke and gay. And now that Donald Trump is president, they're talking about how they want to dress up as Ash Ketchum to go to the deportations. Like, how did this happen? Like, how do we move? I guess it's great that it's no longer, politics is no longer political because Trump is president. Like, it turns out, and lo and behold, shocking revelation, everybody. Centrists actually don't have an issue with right-wing politics. They have an issue with what they perceive as left-wing politics. Politics is only when something is seemingly aesthetically leftist or left-wing. It's crazy. I still think that the only reason why someone like Asmongold can so carelessly say that he would dress up, even as a joke, he would dress up to, dress up as a Pokemon trainer to go watch these thugs of the government violently apprehend and put into concentration camps with the slated for deportation millions of Americans, is because I guess they genuinely believe that all of these guys are like murderers or something. Okay, that's the only way you can come to terms with doing something so horrifying that you just like simply don't understand. You simply do not understand that these are not like all murderers or whatever, and some just like Homan are lying and saying they are, and many are just simply undocumented migrants that they're catching and dragging in operations. And if your assessment in that situation is, well, they shouldn't have come in, they shouldn't have crossed this like imaginary boundary that didn't exist 100, 200 years ago, sorry, sucks to suck, then yeah, you're kind of a cruel person, It's not very nice. It's not virtue signaling to say that. I truly don't get it.